Hearing a doctor say the words, "you have cancer," is an existential shock unlike anything you can imagine. I don't recommend it, and maybe I should take my own advice because I've had to experience it 3 times. Faster than the actual words come out of the oncologist's mouth, your brain starts to race through scenarios like, oh shit, I'm dead. 2 weeks, a month, 3 months, a year. Am I going to see next year? I'm going to be broke. What do I tell everyone? How will my parents feel? How will my siblings feel? My friends, my girlfriend? Am I going to have any money left if I make it through? I'm going to die, huh? You get the point, but it truly is like this instantaneous portal to a hellscape that I have yet to figure out how to get both my feet out of. It's a perpetual fight or flight. These thoughts go through your head all the time when you're in treatment, and they start immediately when you hear the words. And so, as I was being diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic melanoma for the aforementioned 3rd time exactly 1 year and 2 weeks ago, my brain ran through all these thoughts. And of course, one of these thoughts was also, by the time I'm ending treatment, the first division professional basketball league in Costa Rica and the Abogados Seminario, the team that I'm playing for, will be honoring me at center court before game 3 of the finals, right? Obviously, I'm kidding, but that's what happened yesterday. And in order to explain how I got here with exactly 1 week left in my cancer treatment, I do seem to like these kind of chronological markers, I need to back up. I never want to assume that if you're watching right now, you have seen my vlog in the past. I'm sure there are plenty of people who have not seen this, and I don't assume that you know all the information in isolation. So, as I was being diagnosed last year, my friend Case and I were already talking about playing a season of professional basketball down here in San Jose, Costa Rica. Mostly, the premise was that he was a good enough actual professional basketball player that he could command bringing along a sidekick to be signed as an end-of-bench player, a backup point guard, and that backup point guard would be me because I used to, keywords being used to, be of the caliber of player who could exist in this league pretty easily. I am confident that when I was in my 20s, I would have no problem starting in this league. Unfortunately, right as we were planning this, I got re-diagnosed, and that threw a major wrench into things, because like stage 4 cancer, starting treatment, all that good shit. So the quicker I learned that luckily the cancer was in this tiny spot in my lymph node in my right groin, and we were able to surgically excise it, I was able to start treatment quickly, and somehow the treatment that I'm on did not have really bad side effects. We decided to push on with the goal of making it down to Costa Rica to play ball, but it always seemed a little bit different, I guess. Now all of a sudden the experience was going to have this, well, you're in cancer treatment, we'll see what happens. Are we actually going to do this mode? And I could tell it wasn't going to be some return to glory for me or my body or my skill set as a professional basketball player. Cancer has a funny way of making you self-aware, honest about what's going in your body. That is, unless, of course, you decide you think the best course of action for curing your cancer is taking horse dewormer. We'll talk about that another day. I just want to get my elbow in where I can. Don't take horse dewormer to cure cancer. Anyway, what I was getting at is right around the time I was re-diagnosed, the severe osteoarthritis in both my hips started to ramp up in how it was affecting my body and my ability to play. Not the best timing for it. In fact, I had to kind of ramp down the training I was going to do to get myself in shape. So by the time I showed up, I realized that I was not going to be an asset to this team. I was not going to be an impact player. In fact, when I showed up, I couldn't move at all. We got on the practice court and I was embarrassing myself. And I'm sure a lot of these guys were looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing here? So practice squad, limited minutes, that became my expectation. And luckily, I managed to settle in and increase my skill level and become kind of an impact player in practice to where these guys understood that I knew how to play basketball. My brain for basketball was still good. My skills, although they were diminished, and my body, although it was very diminished, it could get things done at times. So I wasn't quite the adult Make-A-Wish player like I joked about when this was all starting to go down. That was something I said very often. I'm like, bro, this might end up being half adult basketball camp, half adult Make-A-Wish for me, because if I can't do anything but train and hang out, that's all it's going to be. But like I was saying, as I slowly transitioned my way back into at least reasonable shape to where I could be on the court, and I improved my standing on the roster, and I talked to my teammates and my coaches, and they figured out that I knew the ins and outs of competitive basketball. I've played a lot of it, something like 300 days a year for my adult life. I somewhat transitioned into this player coach or mental mentor for a lot of these guys, because keep in mind, this is a very young team. Our average age is probably 25. There's only one guy who's 30 except for me. And it's been weird. It's been great, but it's been weird because once I conceded that the best case scenario for me was, getting into some exhibition games and playing in practice and just kind of improving myself, I decided that the only thing to do was to try and make an impact off the court or to help the guys who were on the court, because I love team sports more than anything else. I love competing and I love team sports. And when you're on a team, you do everything you can to win. So this was the natural progression of me being here. If I was going to be down here and on this team, I'm going to try and help out any way I can for us to win a national championship. I preach all the time to these dudes, the only goal in team sports is to win the game. And so help however you can. And so last night, as we started to take the floor for game 3 of the national championship series against Escazú, we're tied 1-1 going in. It was business as usual. I have 3 to 4 guys that I essentially coach closely and caddy for before the games. Help get them warmed up. I rebound. I talk them through the game plan. I help get them warmed up mentally. We discuss anything that might be bothering them or adjustments. I don't want to step on my coach's toes at all because that is not officially my job. But whatever I have to do, I want to do to help us win. So we're done with warm-ups, and I start to put my normal shorts and shirt back on and take my place at the end of the bench behind coach. I have this habit of standing up and yelling at our defense the entire game. And all of a sudden, our team manager walks over and they say, "Mike, get your jersey on." And I'm like, "What do you mean, get my jersey on?" They say, "Mike, put your jersey on really fast." And I'm starting to think okay, well, I'm not going to play. This isn't happening. So maybe there's a photo opportunity or something. Sure, let's see what happens. At this point in time, one of the matrons of the team grabs my hand and starts walking me towards center court. And all of a sudden, I see the commissioner and the refs and our captains and the other team out there. And my brain just starts to go, holy shit, what is happening? Keep in mind, I'm 3 months into the season. I speak pretty functional Spanish, but as I'm shaking everyone's hand, I'm just hitting them with the gracias, mucho gusto, hola, todo bien, just the most gringo shit ever as I'm trying to figure out what exactly is going to happen here. And so then the woman who grabbed my hand is center court with a mic giving a speech about me and how much I mean to Abogados Seminario and, how the season has been special. And I'm just, the whole time going, no way. The adult Make-A-Wish thing is happening. And basketball in Costa Rica, it's not the biggest sport or the second biggest sport or probably not even the third biggest sport, but there is still a few thousand people in the stand. And I'm thinking, they're just saying this to a few thousand people who don't know me. There's a pregame ceremony for me in front of a few thousand people in the national stadium before game 3 of the finals in the highest league in Costa Rica. And then I throw a fake jump ball to the captains, and the next thing I know, I'm off the court and the game is actually starting. I think it took me getting back to the bench and taking my seat and the game starting for me to tear up a little bit. It started to hit me what was going on. I don't actually know who organized it or why. I mean, I kind of know why. It's the culmination of, like I said, the half adult Make-A-Wish thing, which being 100% honest, that's not how I envisioned my first season of professional basketball. I'm one of those people that doesn't want pity taken on me for being a cancer patient, but I don't actually think this is what this was. And this is my life. And for someone or someone's or the league and these teams and my teammates and the coaches to appreciate me like this, it means so much to me. Because when I've been down here, I haven't talked in depth about my experience with cancer. I mean, there's the language barrier, and my teammates and my coaches know, shit, I'm doing treatment on the way back from road games and stuff like that, or joking about mis caderas de mierda in practice all the time. That's my shitty hips for those of you who don't speak Spanish. But my advocacy and stories about cancer have been pretty contained. I'm just trying to fit in and be part of the team and the community. And I don't want to be too modest. I've made a lot of friends. They seem to like me. And wow, man, the league helped organize this. We were playing at a neutral site. Both teams had to agree to this. So that was dope, to say the least. And what's more dope and more important is that we won the game, and we're now up 2-1 in the series, going back to another neutral site for Game 4 in a best-of-5 series. One more win, and we're going to be national champions of Costa Rica. When I was diagnosed again last year, when I heard the words, "you have cancer," for the 3rd time, I imagine all sorts of terrible things, and I can't help but crack up because I'm shooting this outdoors right now, and there's a music festival or some sort of food festival going on at the university off in the distance, and there's a marching band, and it's fucking awesome. But anyway, when I was diagnosed again, I imagined all these awful things, and in order to get through treatment, you need to have a lot of positive things. You need to have luck, and you need to have hope, and you need to have determination, and you need to have friends, and you need to have support, and you need to have surprises, like marching bands. But I had those things, except for maybe marching bands, before I went on this adventure. And the exponential amount of things that I've gained here in Costa Rica has just made me feel I'm more on part of planet Earth than this other fucking shadow realm that cancer is. And that's a really hard thing to achieve during treatment. Speaking of which, I've got exactly 1 week left in what has been a year of treatment. I'm going to make a few vlogs during that time in order to count it down, the same way that I made a few at home when I was starting this up. And it's extremely likely that my brain will be all over the place the same way it has been this whole time. That is the experience of a cancer patient in treatment. And I think I'm pretty good at dealing with cancer. And it's not just because I've built these skills and had this experience and had the support along the way. It's definitely because of that, but it's also because I have this vlog, I have this outlet that allows me to be able to talk about it and share about it and let me examine the experience more objectively, as I have to present it to other cancer patients or their loved ones or people who want to be sympathetic and empathetic towards cancer patients. So if you're watching right now, thank you for being part of my world, either the cancer world or Earth, as they are indeed different. But I live in both of them, and I likely will for a long, long time, I hope. Y finalmente a mi nueva familia, mi familia de Abogados Seminario. Mucho amor. Mucho, mucho amor. To everyone, pura vida. Talk to you soon. Bye.